Today, we're going to take a trip down memory lane and take a look back at all of the LEGO sets released in 2023. We're going to be ranking them from the best sets all the way down to the worst sets of this year. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new video. So today we're going to be taking a look at most of the 2023 LEGO sets that were released this year. So the point of this video is I'm going to focus on more of like the iconic ones, the ones that stand out in the stores, the ones that majority of the people are actually going out and buying, not necessarily like the LEGO Duplo or like the little mini LEGO City cars that you might end up getting. So I'm just going to focus on more of the bigger ones. I hope I captured all of them at least. I tried going through the LEGO website to try to figure out which ones were actually released in 2023. So it's possible I did miss some, but I did really just take the ones that I felt like actually stuck out the most throughout this year. And there were some incredible sets that were released this year, and there were also some questionable ones that I was like, I'm a little bit surprised that this actually went through at this price, and so on and so forth. Basically, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna break this down into a tier list, go from there. Before we go on to this video, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button with the bell notification icon, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite set of this year, and maybe it actually ends up being on the tier list. So without further ado, let's get into it. Like I said in the intro of this video, we're basically gonna be going ahead and looking at most of the 2023 sets. I tried to go ahead and take a look at, or try to pick out all of the sets that I felt like stood out this year, whether it's a positive or negative. And then what we're gonna end up doing is making basically a tier list and showing which ones I thought were amazing sets, which ones I thought that could have been better. And again, this is all subjective, so it's based off my opinion, it's based off what I've seen from other people say about this set as well, and it's just going to be basically me just making it up. And I thought this would be a good way to just basically talk about all of the sets that were released this year. I do think though that there were some really cool sets, and then what we're just going to do is, I guess it's kind of auto filtered into this, so we're going to go through and talk about all of them. As you can see here, we've got so what we're going to end up doing here is just talking about all the different sets that I've kind of reached, that I've kind of outlined into here. I don't know if I missed anything. I mean, I probably did, I'll be honest with you. I kind of went through it last night, and I thought this would be a good idea just to kind of talk about. I've got everything from the Lego minifigures, Disney, Harry Potter, Lego ideas, Lego icons, architecture, Star Wars. I didn't really go into detail with, I've even got, I think, one from the city set that I thought was really interesting that I wanted to add in. But I think the main thing here is, like, obviously there's more than just these sets, but these are the ones that for me stood out that I thought were different, but I also thought that a lot of people ended up enjoying and liking. So we're just going to focus on these, because the issue is, like, if you go on to, like, for example, you know, we can go easily onto like the Lego website. I'm just kind of have it open here right now on the side here, and you can go through the entire Lego City, and there's probably just in Lego City is probably double what you see at the bottom here. So the main thing here is just making sure that we can easily just focus on what I think was really good and just kind of go from there. So we'll start off with number one, which is the Up House. Yeah, the Up House. This is part of the Disney 100 set. I do have a handful of ones from Disney here, because from my understanding, and I think every single one was released this year because this was Disney 100 year anniversary. The Up House I thought was a really cool set. What I really enjoyed about this set was the fact that there was people who on rebrickable.com that actually completed the set on the end. I felt like that was the only thing that was missing about this set. If you don't know about it, I will put up a photo of each of these sets, because I know down here you can't really see it very well, but what I'll end up doing is I'll put a photo up on the screen so that you can always see which is the set I'm talking about. So just to start things off, pretty much, like, this had a really cool, and the main thing for this one, what I did really enjoy about it was I feel like they actually captured the really, honestly, the house that is up. That's really the whole point of the movie. The only thing I didn't really like about this set, and I think a lot of people agreed about this, and this is where I was kind of ties back to the Rebrickable, is that there's some people on rebrickable.com that actually, if you were to buy 2 of the sets, you can complete the house completely. I feel like that's what the missing component was. This is one of those houses where I know Lego's big on being able to play on the back end of it, but I feel like this should have been a little bit bigger scaled, and I think they really missed out on that opportunity. So there were some details that were missing, but I'm glad that they included this as part of the Disney 100 set. So in the end, I want to put it as a D, is in the sense it's not the best set, but I think for right now we're going to put it in as a C, because of the fact that I know people on rebrickable.com, I think that's what it was, they actually figured out that, okay, like, found a way to make it better. So I'm giving a kind of like a bonus to the people on like basically rebrickable.com that were able to actually kind of go ahead and do this. So the Corvette was released as part of the Lego Icon set. I just kind of got it on the side here, so that's why I'm kind of looking on the side here. The main thing for me, and you've probably seen, and actually I'm gonna go grab them right now. We got the Ford Mustang, and then we also got as well, which is the black one, which I genuinely really like. I love the details on them. I felt like the Corvette was lacking the details as well. Like, it is a really cool set in general. I definitely think they did a good job at trying to capture it with what the actual I think it's 1961 Corvette. Yeah, 1961 Chevrolet Corvette. But when I compare it to the Mustang or the Camaro, like in my opinion, it goes Camaro, Mustang, and then the Corvette. Like, it's not a wow factor, but I think it's still a good job. And that being said, though, I know there's a lot of people who like the cars. I'm glad that they're continuing this set onwards. So I do think it's a good set, but I'm glad that they are lacking a little bit of details. But I do think it's a little bit better than Up. So in the end, I'm going to give it a B for right now, but that might change. I do think it was a very cool model. I didn't actually build it myself, but I actually did see some people build it. I think it's an interesting model. It's different. I'm curious to see if they're going to continue this with like Clone Troopers, if they're going to continue this with like, you know, Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, all of the main famous characters. So because of that, off its potential, I'm going to give it a B, because I feel like in general it's a good build. I think it's got potential, and that's why I'm going to actually give it a B. I'm curious to see what they're going to do, what Lego's going to do if they're going to actually include other characters from the Star Wars universe that are going to be built like that, because I think that would be really cool, similar to what they did with the helmet collection. Okay, the next one, the Concorde, a little bit, and I feel bad because I didn't realize how I ranked. This is how I exported all the videos, because there's actually some out here that I actually am going to be giving S tier right off the bat, just not even have to talk a lot about it. This is called the Icon series. What I've been enjoying about this one is I feel like Lego's really pushing this series. They've got the Titanic, they've got, oh, I guess all the Chevrolet Camaro cars are also in here, the Eiffel Tower, all that stuff, but those were released in different years. The Pac-Man machine, which we'll talk about later on. Concorde was their first big, I think this is their main big plane they've had for a while. This thing is massive, and I think that's what makes it a negative. I've seen some people build this online, especially. I've seen it in the Lego store itself. It's a very big set. It's a very simple set as well. Like, if you think about the Concorde plane itself, it's not anything crazy. It's just a white plane fighter jet for passengers. It's nothing that crazy, and I think that's where it had a lot of potential to it, but I think in this case here, the designers actually made it too big. It should have been smaller, and I think there's a lot of empty space when it comes to that. It's a lot of repetition, and like, you know, it's just the giant white shell that, or the white outer frame of the plane, as well as like you have your individual passengers and all that stuff there. So I feel like in this case here, they made it bigger than they made it too big, because you can't even display very well. It takes up a lot of space, and so because of that, I'm also going to give this one a C for right now. Okay, so next up we have is the A cabin. This was, I think, the first release for Lego Ideas in 2023. It's funny enough, I'm actually in a Facebook group, and one of the guys that was in that group, that was actually his build. I think he was in his like mid to late 30s, and he spent like 2 or 3 years building it. But the one thing I really like about this one is that, and this is something I really appreciate about a lot of the Lego Ideas that are coming out, is that they're standalone builds, but as well as they can be integrated within City. I think Brixie actually, I was watching one of his YouTube videos a while ago, but he actually had it inside of his city. So I think personally, it's a really, really good build. I don't really have any comments about it. I think it's original. I actually liked it. I haven't bought it yet, but maybe one day I actually will buy it. For that, we have our first A tier build, the A-frame cabin. Up next, we have the Disney 100 castle itself. I know that Disney, I think one thing I did notice about the Disney castle is I think the original one was all the white bricks, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna go look this up actually right now, one sec. This one here, I like the newer one more. I feel like the original version of it was, I don't know, it wasn't as fun. I like the upgrade to it. I think they did a good job on the upgrade of it. I like the gold frame, or the gold plating to it. I think it's a good idea that they did only do it half, like it's only half of it. There's nothing on the back, so you can play on the inside. They had some really nice details on the inside as well. So because of that, I'm also going to be putting this one as our next A tier one. Up next is another Lego Ideas. I'm pretty sure. I think Hocus Pocus was a Lego Ideas. Let me just throw it up in here. This one here, actually, I did want to buy. I think I was hoping it was going to be on sale during Black Friday, but they actually had the Blacksmith Lego Ideas instead. But this one here, again, honestly, I think that they did a pretty good job at it. I haven't seen Hocus Pocus, so I don't know enough about it. From what I've seen from other people and their reviews and whatnot, like, they seem to think it was a solid set. Overall, I think it was a solid set. I want to buy this eventually, so I'll probably put it again as an A. I think it deserves an A tier. Okay, up next, some Star Wars. We're getting a little bit of a change up, which it's the Coruscant Guard gunship. The only comments I have heard on this one, and it kind of goes back with the Chevrolet Corvette, was that I think people there was like a lack of detail on the exterior of the gunship. And I know this one's meant for like a 9+ set, but I know people, a lot of who are Star Wars fans were buying this for their collection kind of thing. I think the issue with this one, it's very similar to the Corvette. You lacked some of that detail on the exterior for it, you know, especially when you're pricing it at just under $200 for only 1,000 pieces. The issue with it was like, yeah, like again, the wings flap, everything like that, but I think people were lacking a little bit more detail, especially when you compare it to like the Venator class cruiser or the Imperial Super Star Destroyer, whatever that one's called, the one that's down over here. I'm putting this into tier B as well. Okay, up next is the Downtown City. Okay, this one's a little bit controversial for me. This I think this one was the only city set I had in here. I think that like for $260 and it's for 2,000 pieces, go buy a modular build. And this is like one of those builds where Lego builds it and it's all for fun and it's great for playing. Why are you spending $260 on that? And that's where I think the price is $60 over that it should be. This should be at a sub $200 set, because yeah, it looks like there's a lot, but when you actually like go through and look at some of the pictures of it and actually break down all of the details that go with it, like there's a lot of space you're taking up, but there's not a lot of happening. And I think, again, I think Brixie did a good video about it where he broke down, I think bought 2 of them and then like went on rebrickable.com. Some people have like tried to make it a better set. It's similar to like the Up House, where it was like, the idea was there, but like the execution was lacking. And the fact that they put this under a city set was kind of their excuse of being like, oh, look, it's more playable rather than like being complete. And I think that was the biggest issue with this set. I saw it come out and I checked out the store and I was like, hey, like, this is a good set, but I feel like there's a lot lacking, you know, behind the scenes on it. It's a very good face value, but then when you look at the price, you're looking at what you're getting with it. I think there's some details lacking on it. And that's where I'm actually going to put this in a C, basically as a sub C right now. I'm going to put this, looking at this behind as like, so I'm going to go as like, this is like the higher tier side and this is the lower tier side, because I think at least Up was only like 65, 70 bucks, which was a pretty decent deal. And like you had more to work with. I think this one's, with a price point, is just way too high, in my opinion. Way too high. Next up, we're going back to Star Wars. So Emperor's Throne was released earlier this year as part of, I think, the 40 years of Return of the Jedi. That was what the promotion was. So here's my thing with this set. It's $130. It's a display piece. It's meant for adults only, which I think is absolutely great. I think what they selected was also a good piece as well. The issue, again, with this set here is it's not an S tier set because of that price. You're getting 807 pieces for $130 Canadian, because obviously I live in Canada, so everything here is in Canadian dollars. And again, the price point's a little bit too high. This is, in my opinion, a set that could be easily an A tier set. Lego knows that people want this set. That's why, because you know, you got the 40-year anniversary for it. They want you to pay the $130 for it, but when you actually buy the set, it's only like this big or something. It's a very small set, kind of taking advantage of the situation with lack of pieces, and they're just giving you like its own standalone piece. It's not a big set because of that, and so because of that, I'm going to give it a high tier. So I'm putting it in front of Chewbacca. It's almost at an A. It's not there, but it's almost there. Up next, we have, mess up the name for this one. It's the Super Star Destroyer, I'm pretty sure. Executor Super Star Destroyer. Yeah, I think they did a good job on it. The scale on it, the size on it, everything like that, I think they did a really good job on it. It's not necessarily the biggest piece. It's 630 pieces long, and it's for $90. To put that in perspective, the other one was $800 for $130. Like, that's a little bit too high. I think the price point, I think what you got with it, I think the details on it was pretty well done. I saw a handful of videos on it. I saw it at the Lego store. I'm going to give this one a high A tier. This one's going to go ahead of the A cabinet in my perspective. Okay, Gringotts bag from Harry Potter. This is an interesting one for me. When I saw them release this one, I was like, there's no way that this thing can stand properly and not fall over. If people who don't know it, again, I'm putting up all the pictures of this one up on the screen so that people can see at the same time. The detail on this one's absolutely incredible. For $560, I understand why. Like, you've got a curved building, you've got a track that's going up and down, or down below it to get to the banks, you've got a dragon. You hit everything about, in my opinion, I think they hit pretty much everything on this, like from the details to the overall like storyline that they hit in the movie. It's either 6th or 7th movie. I honestly don't remember, even though I'm watching the Harry Potter series right now. Like, the stability of the structure you're kind of concerned about, but I've seen a lot of people build it. Like, I've seen a lot of people build this set and then cut off the basement to add the actual building itself into the into their city set. I think it's actually one of those builds where I first saw it, I was like, there's a little bit shaky. The price is a little bit high. Is this one of those things that it falls, like, you know, it can easily break? You know, it's got 2,800 pieces, it looks like, I think. 2,800 pieces, 13 minifigures. Like, I'm gonna give this one an S tier for the first time, because I think that from, you know, this was really their big Harry Potter set. I think they released a train as well this year, if I'm not mistaken, but maybe not. This is, in my opinion, the first S tier, because you hit everything about the storyline. It was a questionable build when I first saw it. It's a big build. I think it's worth it if you're gonna buy it, because it's multi-purpose at the same time. So I think definitely a really good job. Our first S tier has made it. Okay, so up next we have Hamaji Castle. It's a solid build. I think like all architecture builds, they're simple. They're there to capture all the details for. I've never been to Japan, so I've never seen this in real life, so I can't really comment on that at all. I think it's a solid build. I don't think it's anything extraordinary. Like, I know they remade the White House, but like the Taj Mahal, I really like. The newer version of the White House is also nice as well. Like, I think it's a good castle. I think it's a A to B tier, low A, high. Because it was the only architecture one. It was way better than Pyramid Giza. That one, honestly, if that was released this year, would be a D. I think that was the ugliest one that they made. I'm gonna put this one as a low A tier. It was good. I liked it. They did a good job. I didn't buy it, but it's a solid set, I think, in general. The Harry Potter castle, I have to double check this one because I know they have two versions of the Harry Potter castle. Hogwarts castle. This was like their scaled down version. So I guess kind of similar to the architecture one. $220, 2,600 pieces. I think this is a really nice display piece in general. Like, I didn't really hear anything negative about this set. It's kind of the architecture style theme, but with Harry Potter, where they realized that like actually building the castle is expensive, and it's a big set, so they kind of toned it down. And again, I'm gonna give it the same thing. Like, it's a low A tier. I think it looks nice. Okay, next up we've got the Jazz Club. Like all modular buildings, these are solid sets. I think that every year that goes on, they've been increasing the detail. Like, if you look at the Grand Emporium to the Jazz Club now, you have more interior details. I haven't built the Jazz Club yet. I don't have it yet, but I plan on buying it and building it soon. This was released back, I think, just like January 1st. Because then you have the National History Museum that was released later on. Same thing too. I think it's a solid set. I love the modular building, so this is where I'm a little bit more biased. And that's where, again, I'm probably going to put this into a mid A tier set. There's not really much for me to say about it. All modular buildings for me, I really love, and I think they did a good job on it. Okay, the Land Rover. The Land Rover is up next for me. I think this was also released in Lego Icons, if I'm not mistaken. Let's double check this. Yeah, it was $330 for this one. 2,336 pieces. See, this is where I think they did a better job than the Corvette, but I don't like the price point. If I'm not mistaken, during Black Friday, they actually reduced the price because they weren't selling enough of these. And that's where this is a B tier for me. It's better than the Corvette, but it's not where it should be. I think this should be an A tier set, but because of the price point, I think that they missed the boat. It's not as bad as what was a table football where they were pricing that thing at like $400 or something. And they like, I think within 2 weeks, they discounted it by 30% because nobody was buying it. But it's still a good set. I won't buy it personally for myself, but I do like that they're continuing the cars. I like that they're branching out. They tried something new here. It's a B tier set for me. I'll put it behind the Corvette just because of the price point. Okay, up next, we've got some minifigures. We've got the Marvel minifigures Series 2. I haven't built them yet. I just bought them. I don't have a comment on them yet. I think with minifigures itself, they're a good thing to get. They're a cool set to get. It's one of those things you just want to complete them. Like, I'm kind of working on the Disney ones right now, as you can see right here. I don't think this is anything in this super range. It's an A range. They're good. I think that all the minifigures are always a safe pick to get. You're not going to get anything extraordinary. I think the first edition of the Marvel ones were better, and I'm just gonna put it into a C tier. It's our first C tier. It's an upper C tier for me. Minifigures are minifigures. You're spending $6 for a minifigure. It's a little bit on the pricier side, but you still get the fun mystery pack style feel where you're trying to figure out which one it is. And actually, I'm just gonna jump right into minifigure series 24. I haven't even bought these as well, but I know these were released earlier this year. Same idea. I think that they're a great product to buy, but again, they're $6 each, but they're not like anything crazy in that sense. So I'll put them ahead of the Downtown and the Concord. I think Up is still a little bit of a better house, but yeah, that's basically for those. And we're kind of getting closer to the end here, but the next up we have is the Natural History Museum. Same thing here. The only comment I have on this one, and this is where I haven't bought it yet and I saw it in stores, I get it's supposed to be a museum, but I feel like it lacked a lot of detail on the exterior, and I think a lot of people have said similar things. I'm gonna pull it up here. I think it's in Lego Icons. It's a great set. It's the biggest set of all, but I'm surprised they went with, it's very flat on all olive green side. Personally, like when they really push the details. I do like what they did on the interior. They've got like the prehistoric, you've got the futuristic, great ideas in general. But for me, the one thing that I think is lacking is like that exterior pizzazz. Especially when you compare this to the Jazz Club. The Jazz Club has like a lot of stuff going on the outside, even like the Assembly Square or the Boutique Hotel, the Natural History Museum. Yes, you have like the banners, you have, I'm just looking at the photo right now, but the olive green was kind of like sad and depressing to look at. So I'm not gonna put it ahead of Jazz Club. I'm gonna actually put it behind it. Price, I think, is there. It's $389 for 4,000 pieces, like, or $390. It's a great set to get. I'm gonna put it behind Hocus Pocus. Hey, Pac-Man, this one is, I'm going to say it right off the bat here. This is our first D set. The reason why I was actually really wanting to buy this one, and I was up there, I'm going to go back to the Lego Icons. This is part of the Lego Icons as well. And a lot of people in the comments may not like me about this, but I saw this thing in store and I was like, I'm not spending $350 on this. This is a display piece. It reminds me of the typewriter. I don't know if I've talked about this on the channel, but the typewriter was one of the worst builds I've ever built. I have a tremendous amount of respect for the individual who was able to create those Lego ideas. I love what it looked like in the end, but building that thing was a nightmare. I hated doing it. The pieces didn't make any sense. Everything jammed in the end. If you made a mistake halfway through, you had to dismantle the entire thing, which was a pain. You basically had to restart the build if you made a mistake, which is what I had to do at one point. And the pack gave me the similar vibes when I was looking at it. I saw some people reviewing it and they said the same thing. Like, building this thing was apparently very weird to do. Something needs to fall in the set. Yes, I think the price point's there, but I just, like, looking at it, I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's cool, but it's just like one of those pieces where it's like, it's just not for me. Like, I know you can move, I think you can move the joystick and you get the mechanical features of it. Like, I think, yeah, oh, that's what it is. Sorry, you crank it and you don't actually move the joystick. You crank the thing and it does like the pre-recorded thing. If they would have made it so you could take the joystick with your Pac-Man and go all the way around, I think I'd have a different opinion on it. But like this one here just reminds me a little bit of the typewriter. Like the typewriter, you just hit the keys, nothing would happen. Well, I guess your thing would move and then it did the function, but the function itself, building thing, was just really annoying. And my thing jammed a bunch of times and I didn't have a good experience with it. And I saw that one. Yeah, that's my opinion. So it's going into the D category. Don't worry, there's other ones going to be joining it near the end here. Up next, we have the Indiana Jones diorama. So this was all released for the movie. I remember when these first came out, there was 3 that came out. I'm only going to put one of them on here just because I do want to talk about the Temple of Golden Idol. The other 2 were pretty basic, and honestly, if I put them on here, I'd probably just put them on in the D category, but that's just no fun. So the Temple of Golden Idol was the one where it was like more diorama. It's similar to the one they did with Star Wars, but this one actually had movable abilities to it, and that's where I think they did a decent job with it. For $200 though, like, you're just making it as a display piece, and when you look at the principle of it, like I was thinking about this, and it's like, yes, you got the cool mechanics where it moves it, but I would rather just spend less money, get a diorama that just sits there. Like, think about this from a practicality standpoint. Once you build this thing, you're not going to play with it. You're going to turn the piece one time, and then that's pretty much it. You're going to leave it on your shelf, and that's where the diorama from Star Wars is actually, in my opinion, better, because you're spending the money on just like a scene, and this is like multiple scenes in one, if I'm not mistaken, and they kind of joined it all together. It kind of became like a little bit of like a cluster, and that's where I'm going to make it join the Pac-Man as being a little bit better, because it's like, it's one of those dioramas that it's like they want to throw everything at it and they're trying to make it so there's a cool mechanic, but like from a practicality standpoint, like you're not going to play with it. You're going to leave it there and you're not going to touch it. And that's where at that point, it's like you might as well just bought a smaller diorama like the Star Wars versions. And I feel like maybe they cut their production short, because I was under the impression, I heard this earlier when the movie came out, there was supposed to be 6 sets that came out for Indiana Jones, and they only released these 3. And the other 2 are not even that good in my opinion at all. So I'm going to put it 3 sets in one. Pac-Man's got a big one. We're going to put it behind. I don't know. I just like feel like there was just a lot happening and they didn't need to do that. Okay, Orient Express, another controversial one that we have here. Everyone who is buying this set is going to make it a movable train, and there's nobody who is doing that otherwise. This thing is a train. You want these trains to move. The creators of this said it was too heavy to input the train piece, but everyone knows on rebrickable.com, I think they already have it up there, you can move the train. I am giving this one specifically a C because of the fact that they did not include the motor, and everybody who wanted to buy this set was only asking for the motor to be able to make it motorized, because at the end of the day, it's a train. It's not like that big Harry Potter train, the Hogwarts Express, like the big one that was like $650 or something, that it's not supposed to be movable because it doesn't go on the normal tracks. But this one's like meant for the tracks that Lego has, the same diameter size. And the fact that they didn't make this electrical, like they didn't electrify it, I guess, or make a motor into it, and their excuse was that it was too heavy, but then when you go on YouTube and everybody else can go ahead and make it work, I think is the issue in my opinion. So for me, this is a high C tier. I'm gonna put it ahead of the Up House because I think it was a good job. I love Lego Ideas. I'm probably gonna end up buying it, and then I'm just gonna motorize it like everybody else. And that's, I think, the most disappointing part about it at the end of the day. Up next is Tranquil Gardens. I've seen some pictures about it. I think it's really nice. Another, I guess this was actually, was this architecture or Lego Ideas? I can't remember now. Oh, it was Lego Icons. Okay. I think this one's a safe pick. I think if, regardless of what you end up, if you want to buy a standalone set that's really nice and tranquil, I think this is a good set. I've seen some people integrate into their city, predominantly Brexy, because I've only really watched him do it. So I guess that's not some people, it's just one person. I think it's a good set. I'm just going to give this a B tier rating, a mid B tier rating. I'll put it behind the Land Rover because I feel like Land Rover had some pretty good details, but the price point kind of shot it back a bit. The Disney 100 Lego minifigures, so far I've been really enjoying making them. I think they've been really cool so far. I've got 4 so far, the Queen of Hearts, Pinocchio, Ernesto del Cruz, and then Cruella de Vil. They all look really nice. I'm trying to get all of them. I think they're solid. I'm going to put it, just because I like it so far, I'll put them ahead of Lego minifigures. But at the end of the day, like, and this is with all Lego minifigures, they're $6 each. The price point is expensive. Like, ideally, you wish they were $2 each. You're just buying a minifigure. You're hoping that you're kind of gambling almost, because it's like when you're buying them, you're hoping that you get every single one that you want, but you know, it's still fun at the end of the day. And actually, I will be doing some videos about me unboxing them later on, but I think they're solid. There's nothing crazy about them. They're just really good and nice minifigures, and I like that they're continuing the series on. I think series 25 comes out in January, so I'm really excited about that one. So we're reaching down to the final 4, so I know this is a little bit of a longer video, but again, I really feel like we needed something like this because I haven't had a chance to do one of these in a while, just because the month of December got very busy away from me. I moved my setup into a different area. I have more space now, so it's a little bit easier for me to do stuff. But the Venator class Republic attack cruiser, I don't care what anybody says about this set. Like, I absolutely love it, and the best part about it is they give you, I think it's Rex and Anakin, if I'm not mistaken, right? Captain Rex and Anakin in the 51st Battalion. Admiral Yularen, or that's what it is, Admiral Yularen, and then you have Captain Rex. Yeah, I think this is awesome. I don't really buy big Star Wars sets like this, but I definitely think it's a really, really cool set. It's better than the, in my opinion, than the Super Star Destroyer. I don't know, man. I think like when Lego comes out with these sets, everyone gets very excited about it, and they don't really care about the price. And I know you're all saying the same thing. You're probably thinking like, oh my god, he's complaining about the price for a lot of these sets, but then he's gonna go spend 4,000 pieces for $850. Now that I think about it a little bit more, I'm starting to regret what I'm saying out loud here. But then most importantly, when you're looking at like the Natural History Museum, it's 4,000 pieces for like $350. So it's not an S tier for me though, but it's definitely an A tier set for me. I'm putting it ahead of, but it's an A tier set for me. I get the price is very high, but I think it's really cool. And that's what I'm going to say. I might change my mind later on, but it is what it is. Okay, the Viking Village is a Lego Idea set. It's very original. I think it's a really solid Lego Idea set. Like compared to the Hocus Pocus house, I would actually, you know what? I might actually drop Hocus Pocus down to a B tier. I'm thinking I'm gonna give it like a high B tier, and I'm gonna put the Viking Village as a low A tier. That's kind of what I'm looking at here. I like those. I like the Lego Ideas sets this year were, in my opinion, really well done. But drop Hocus Pocus down to a B tier because I actually, you know what? I'm changing my mind. We're gonna go Hamaji Castle, and then we're gonna bring Hocus Pocus back up. So Hocus Pocus is a low A tier. Hamaji Castle is a high B tier. I think, but I do like the Star Wars diorama, but the price point's not there. For $170, you get 2,000 pieces. I think it's really good. I haven't bought it yet. Maybe I will buy it if I feel like that's something I would like to include in my city one day. But I think I don't have any issues with it. I think all the 3 Lego Idea sets that were released this year did a really good job. I guess Orient Express is another one that they did as well. I know the Polaroid camera's coming out next year, so I guess there was 4. I was unfortunate. I missed out on the Blacksmith Workshop. I really want to buy that one, but I didn't get the coupon. We're at the final 3, and this is where I've been really looking forward to this. The Lord of the Rings Rivendell set is $670. It has 6,200 pieces. This was the best set. And the craziest part is it's technically, I know there's Brickheads, but I don't really count those, but it's like literally the only set in Lord of the Rings, and they nailed it. This is, in my opinion, and like I know we only have 2 left, but this is, in my opinion, the best set of 2023. This has got, it's unbelievable detail. It's a diorama, but you can play with it at the same time. It's got incredible, like, it's got incredible representation of the movies. I have yet to hear of someone who had anything negative to say about this. And like, I think this set is absolutely incredible. And it's funny because if you compare it back to the Venator class ship, which had only like 4,000 pieces or something on it for $850, this one had $670 for 6,200 pieces. Like, I think everything hits the point. And in my opinion, this was the best set of 2023. And I don't think there's any other set that did it better than that, in my opinion. Like, I have nothing else to say. It's an incredible set for like the first actual Lord of the Rings. And I don't know if they did other ones in the past, but I'm just considering right now if you go on the Lego website, if you look at it, it's technically the first set right now. I think they did an absolutely incredible job on it, and I don't see how anybody could not like it whatsoever. And yeah, so that's like the best set this year, and I'm gonna go through and we'll probably reorganize it near the end, but in general, that's it. And then, okay, Luke Skywalker's X-Wing fighter, 2,000 pieces, $320. I think it's a beautiful display piece. I really like it a lot too. I think that it did a good job when it comes to the simplicity of the model. In my opinion, I think it's an A set rank. I'm not going to put it as like higher tier end, which is where I have these two, but I might actually change that now the more I think about this. But I think it's like a mid-tier A set. I really like it. I was debating buying it. I think it's a really nice display piece. I like that they did it. They upgraded it from the one that I think there's two versions of it. You can still buy at the Lego store. This one's more of an adult version of it, which I think is nice, and that's why I really liked it. The Walt Disney tribute camera. I think it was a really nice set for a price point of $130 for 800 pieces. It's a really nice standalone piece. I know the only issue with it is like it is decently tall. I think it's like this tall or something. I guess you can't really see me. I think they did a really good job. I think it's a solid set. Same thing here. I'm gonna put this one actually as, okay, I'm making some changes. Disney Castle's getting demoted to a B tier. This one's going up to a mid A tier. But I did like the Disney Castle. Okay, we're going low end. Okay, I'm gonna think about some of these, and then I'm gonna show you the final results at the end. So I'm just gonna clap my hands, and then you're gonna see the last results. Here we go. All right, the final out of 20. So we have 29 files that we end up putting into here. This is the final. This is my final ranking. So it goes from left to right, left being the best set, all the way down to the worst set in this entire thing so far. So here are the top 3 sets, in my opinion, for 2023. Starting at number 1, we have Rivendell. I don't think there's any other set that beat that at all. I think it was the fact that it's the only standalone one. They nailed it. They nailed the whole scenery. I remember when this set came out, people were raving about it, and then and usually it dies down, but this one kept going and people loved it. The next one is Gringotts Bank. I love it because you can have it as a standalone, but then also you could add it into your city. There was a lot of components to it, and I think that's what made it really nice. Like, if you think about it, similar to Rivendell, there was a really nice architectural design to it. You had, like, just in my opinion, just the design of it was incredible, and I really did enjoy it. And it could be something I pick up one day, but it is, again, I think it's like $600, so it's a little bit expensive for me. And then I did promote the Jazz Club. I really love the colors for it. I do plan on buying it eventually one day. I've got a lot of the modular buildings still to build, but I did really like it. I remember when it first came out, I was debating buying it right away. And then yeah, so this is the final tier list, and you got A-frame cabin, you got Luke's X-Wing, you've got the Walt Disney tribute camera, you've got the Venator class Star Destroyer. Then you've got the Natural History Museum, Disney Castle, the Super Destroyer, the Harry Potter's, I'm going to call it Harry Potter's architectural layout. I think they did a solid Viking Village, Hocus Pocus. Like, the Lego ideas this year, like 10 on 10. I know the Orient Express I put in the C, but it's honestly just because I'm mad that they didn't motorize it, and I think a lot of people are the same way. The dioramas for Star Wars, I'm very interested to see what they're going to continue, if they're going to continue doing them. I definitely think it's something that they need to just fix that price point, because at the end of the day, they're not very big sets, and I think that's what held it back this year. I did demote the architecture Himachi Castle just because, like, I haven't been there and I can't compare it in real life, and that could be easily an A set, but I don't know. And that's where, like, you know, it could be here, it could be here. It doesn't. They're pretty much the same time with the throne room. Chewbacca, it was cool. I want to see what they do with that moving forward. Land Rover, really cool set. Again, price point just wasn't there for me. Tranquil Garden, solid set. Nothing really to complain about, but I don't think it's extraordinary. I think it's just a good set. The Coruscant gunship, lacking some details. That they had good mechanics, lacking a little bit of the exterior details, similar to the Corvette. Good mechanics, just lacking some detail, but it's still a good set. It's a safe buy in that end of the day. Orient Express, I'm just mad that they didn't motorize it, and that's it. That's why you're getting C. Up, the house, it should have been a complete house. It should have been Hocus Pocus's house. I don't know why they didn't do that. I know it's only for $60. I would have paid $130 if they finished that whole set. I don't want to have to buy another one. It should have been the whole thing. I put all the minifigure sets as well in C tier because they're just minifigures. There's nothing extraordinary about it, like you're on the hunt for like a gold minifigure, which would be really cool. They're just cool, and that's my opinion on it. My issue with Pac-Man wasn't for me. Like, I feel like they had the mechanics there. I feel like it would be a pain to build it, even though I haven't built it. Maybe people will disagree with me. $330. I remember this thing went on. It actually went on sale as well within a couple months because not a lot of people were really interested in it. I think it was a miss. Same with the Indiana Jones diorama. I know that they're trying to take the Star Wars diorama and add details to it, but at the end of the day, it's a diorama. Like, you're gonna leave it up on your shelf. You're not gonna play with it. Like, you're not gonna spin the rock every single time or do the cool settings. Like, you're spending $130, $140 on a diorama where I'd rather just go build the throne room or go build one of the other Star Wars dioramas for under $100 or anything like that if I could get it at that price. Concord, it was just basic and plain. It wasn't for me. It was way too big. They should have cut that thing in half and it would have been, in my opinion, way better. I get it, it's a big piece, but that thing is like a meter long or something insane like that. Like, you can't put that on a shelf. That's the issue with it. It's way too big and it's way too white and there's not enough detail, but it's a Concorde. It's not its fault, but like, that's just how the design was. But I think that's where it lacks that ability to be a better set. And then finally, the downtown. Again, $260 for a city set. Wow, that's expensive. And for what you're getting, it's just not worth it. You're getting a bunch of colorful bricks. The design is, I get it's futuristic, hipster, whatever you want to call it, but again, I think there's a big miss on that end as well, and I'm a little bit disappointed on that as a whole. So, but in the end, the top 3 sets, that's my opinion. Please let me know down below in the comments if I missed any set and if I should have added them in. I try to just keep on the ones that I think were more popular, people were more interested in. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out if you did enjoy this video. Hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to comment down below. Hit the bell notification icon. My goal this year especially is to be posting more videos, hopefully on a weekly basis. I'm trying to get more into the groove of things. I know December was a little bit off. I had some stuff planned, but just life kind of takes over sometimes. So I'm going to try my best to be more dedicated and starting to build this channel because I am very passionate about this, and I think this could be something that's a lot of fun. I've got a lot of really cool ideas coming out. I'm going to be different types of videos, whether it's a tier list, whether it's building, showing you my own builds, honestly anything. So I do hope you did enjoy this video. Yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. So see ya.